Thanks for coming back to the Hags Overlanding channel. In this video, we're going to be checking out my 2004 Toyota Tacoma. I've had this truck since early 2013, and I've put about 120,000 miles on it since I've gotten it. The rest of this video is mostly going to be voiceover, so that I can include several pictures and other video clips of the history of this truck and how it sits. Let's get into it. Like I said, I picked up the truck in early 2013. I did a few modifications to it, like lights, changing the grille, even put in some work. I took it on several trips from the mountains to the ocean. All was good until a fateful day in August of 2017, when it got rear-ended by a 3/4 ton Dodge diesel. This was a bit of a blow. They were ultimately found responsible, and it's time to start the rebuild. Things got started with some teardown, some new parts, picking up some steel, some welding, some fabricating. Here we have the subframe, followed by the bed frame. This bed frame and subframe together, putting it all together with the headache rack, some finished wiring, and finally back to driving in November of 2017. And still in November, finally, the front bumper. And then for that winter, I would just drive it. Then come spring of 2018, I decided I needed some real sideboards. And the front bumper got some minor upgrades. Spring of 2019 saw a few more changes, primarily with the suspension, going from stock height up to about 2.5 inches above. It also got some tow mirrors from a Dodge to make it easier to see around the bed. And yes, they do get used in troll mode occasionally. It's time for some testing. The first big trip was across the Washington backcountry discovery route in late 2019 from Oregon at the Columbia River to the Canadian border. Next was a trip into Montana. This was my first ever trip to Montana, and it would turn out to be a fateful trip. After that, some tall sideboard extensions got made to make it easier, loading all our belongings for the next several trips, hauling all our stuff to what would eventually be Montana. Like I said, it was a fateful trip. And this brings us to, how is the truck now? Let's take a quick walk around it. This truck has been overall very reliable, moving us across a couple states, doing everything I needed to start my business, even making deliveries back and forth through the several states. It still has the original 3.4 V6. Here you can see the outlets I installed along with the fog lights. They have a good cutoff with the winch in between them. The aluminum high performance radiator and the thermostat for the automatic transmission cooler. Next we have the solenoid for the high power outlets that you'll see later, and the one you saw on the front bumper. This is a Cyrix CT battery isolator I've been very happy with. It provides charging two ways depending on what's plugged in or what's charging. This is the battery safety device. It shuts down the auxiliary battery if it gets below, I think, like 10.8 volts. Moving up from there, we have the ditch lights, one on each side, and the CB antenna attached to the bottom of the left side ditch light. And then out to the tow mirrors, acquired from a 2004-ish Dodge Ram with the tow package. We're going to move on to the left side cargo box. In here, I keep my tie-down straps. My kinetic rope. And in the back there you can see my cheap tow strap that has and will get run over. Saves me the use of the kinetic rope from having to be replaced all the time. And onto the right side cargo box. This one, I have a bag with several winch accessories, including a tree saver, and a short extension chain, and a choker chain. This truck does a lot of logging. I think what I'm looking for here is, well, let's see if I can find it, a shackle in the bottom of the bag. That should be up on top or even in one of the side pockets. Also in this box I have the onboard air system accessories, along with the water system accessories and air down kit. And a set of diamond pattern chains that basically always sit there. Let's put this air chuck back where it belongs. Some things that aren't so easy to see. The air system consists of a Viair 350C 100% duty cycle air compressor. It's hidden up underneath the bed, along with a 12-gallon water tank and water pump and battery, auxiliary battery system that powers all these auxiliary lights and stuff. I'm going to take a look across the back of the truck. Behind the license plate, and behind that panel, there's a 5-gallon air tank. Up underneath this little cover, we're going to see outlets for the water and the air system. You can see one of the inlets for the airbags, the 7-pin trailer connector, with the combination with the 4 and 5-pin trailer connector, and of course the rear heavy-duty outlet. Next up we have the deep cabinet in the back of the bed. This one's kind of tricky to unlock and could probably use a little bit of redesigning, but it keeps the honest. In here, I have a 4-foot high lift jack, a full-size, or I guess half-size, D-handle shovel, full-size spade on it though, and an axe all on that side. These items reside full-time in this compartment, unless of course I'm using them. Here we have the uprights and the crossbar for my rear cargo rack. We'll come to that in another minute. I also have 2 pair, 4 each, MaxTrax traction boards. Let's take a quick peek inside that cabinet before I jam everything back in there. Here you can see the pipes that hold the shovel and axe along with the high lift, the slot for the spare tire winch next to the MaxTrax. The cargo rack bars sit kind of in the middle there. Here we're taking a look at the cargo rack for the rear end of the truck. I'm reaching through that cabinet for the pins that go into these bars, and you put the bars in, just drop them down through. With both bars in, the crossbar simply gets pinned in up top. Moving on to inside the cab, At the bottom there you can see the switches for the high power outlets, the water pump and the air compressor, along with an air gauge. On the dash we have the controller for the Red Arc Tow Pro Elite. Below that there is a switch for the old charging system. Moving to the right side of the steering column, we have the inside controls for the winch and a Paranoid Fabrications bracket where the clock used to be. We have the light bar switch and a blank spot in the dash. Used to be where the airbag switch was. Down from there, we have 6 more switches and another Paranoid Fab bracket, and a couple more switches down below in the original console. From the back, it's easier to see. Starting up top with the Scan Gauge 2, the tablet holder with the 2730 radio sit next to it, the stereo, those 6 switches. You can see the phone holder here sit with the bracket that attaches to the seat bolt. At the bottom of the center console, we have another power outlet center. As you can see, this truck has evolved quite a bit since I've gotten it, and it'll probably continue to evolve. A couple things coming up soon for this truck are going to be a rear seat delete. It'll probably go through a couple of renditions by the time I'm done with it and happy. And a few other modifications as well. Thanks for joining us on this overlook of the Hags Overlanding 2004 Toyota Tacoma. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell to know when another video is released.